Hopefully we can make a little more progress today. So guys, we're going to start out today with relatively simple stuff. And again, I don't know whether you have or haven't studied any Spanish before or not. We're going to jump in a little bit, but we're going to start off by finding like commonalities between Spanish and English, and how the two languages, how we can kind of trust our instincts as we go, begin to kind of learn Spanish and stuff, how you can trust your instincts and find some of the patterns in the language that will help you make an educated guess about what things mean as you kind of try to start speaking Spanish a little bit. So I don't know. I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to put this document on your Google Classroom and just have you guys open it up. Let me close this for a sec. As I'm putting this on your classroom, don't go there yet. I got to go send it to you guys. As I'm putting this in your classroom, obviously go in the chat, type your name in there if you guys are in, and to sign yourselves in. Let me post this. And then let me so if you guys will go to your Google Classroom, go to your classwork tab and find that assignment just called Cognates. If you'll just open that up. And again, we might have to do a little housekeeping here and make sure you guys can get it opened up correctly. I'm going to keep my screen share on so you can see here. Once you guys have this thing opened, this is where we're going to start. This is one of my favorite things to do, kind of to start out, is talk about cognates, words that in both Spanish and English are very similar, so that we can find those language patterns and things. Once you guys have this open, hopefully across the top you have this little button that says open with. We're going to annotate that with Cami. And if you guys aren't able to do that, let me know. Unmute yourself, speak up, raise your hand, whatever you need to do. But we want to annotate this with Cami. What's it say? Nice. Okay, you guys good? Everybody got it there? Able to annotate with Cami? Give me thumbs up if you are, or help faces if you're not. So we're going to do this. We're going to just walk ourselves through this. This is going to be me teaching and walking you through as we go with this. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see my screen a little better. So let's talk about what a cognate is. All that means is it's a word that both Spanish and English are both recognizable. It's recognizable in both languages. Because Spanish and English are both from the same language family, they share a lot of things in common, and a lot of the vocabulary, a lot of the vocabulary is easily recognizable. For example, these words that we're seeing right here, let me find the highlighter. These words that we're seeing right here, these are all words that are, yes, they're English words, but they're also Spanish words. They're, in fact, the exact same word and mean the exact same thing. They're spelled the same, they're just pronounced differently. So we have words like actor in English, it's actor in Spanish. Central means central. Color for color. Chocolate for chocolate. Doctor, hotel, idea, piano, radio, and violin. Those are all words that are literally the exact same word in Spanish as they are in English. Now, it's not always that easy, obviously, but there are lots of patterns there. Let me scroll down here. Let's look at this section A. So we're going to look at some of the patterns that a lot of our words in Spanish have in common. We're going to do like 3 or 4 of these from each section. Just go through and see if we can figure out what they mean. Like I said, we're only going to do 2 or 3. I just need you guys to annotate with me as we go, and then we'll come back and finish it up. For some practice, we'll finish up what we've left off. So what's the English word that corresponds to? So let's look at this first pattern. Where's my highlighter? So the first pattern talks about right here. If a word ends with C-I-O-N, that's the equivalent of a T-I-O-N word. And guys, I can't think of an example when that doesn't work. Every word that I can think of in English that ends with T-I-O-N has a corresponding word in Spanish that ends with C-I-O-N. Now, they do have an accent mark over the O in Spanish, but that's just part of the pronunciation. So T-I-O-N becomes C-I-O-N. So if we have the word, like number 1 is la admiración, we just take that part of the word and imagine that as a T-I-O-N, and then we can find the relationship between the two. So that would be, I'm going to grab my text tool here, and we would type that in as admiration, just like that. Okay. Now let's do this. If you guys would unmute yourselves for a sec here. Let's do like, hey, Rain, tell me what you think. Let's do like number 5, dirección. What would that be?
The direction.
That would be direction. Go ahead. Let's put that one in there for direction. See how simple that is? Direction. How about Brianna? What is number 7? La nación. What do you think that is?
I don't know.
Take a guess. What do you think? So if I say it again.
The nation?
There you go.
Oh,
remember, all we got to do is where you see that C-I-O-N in the Spanish word, just imagine it as a T-I-O-N, and then you can make the jump. So that would be nation. Let's type that in there. Nation. There we go. And don't worry about the L or law right now. Guys, the L and law, that's the. We don't need to worry about those for right now. Okay, let's do one more. Perla, how about we do, let's do the last one on the list, number 10, sección. What do you think that is?
Let me unmute myself. Okay, section.
There you go. Section. You just changed the C-I-O-N for the T-I-O-N. Okay, let's do this. Alyssa, can you think of a word that's a T-I-O-N word in English that's not on our list of 10 here? Think of a word that ends with T-I-O-N that's not on the list.
Action.
Say it again.
Action.
Action. Very good. Action. So if we had action, I'm just going to type, you don't need to do this. So how would we spell action? So in English, it's action, T-I-O-N. In Spanish, we would spell it as A-C. And then instead of the T-I-O-N, we would make it C-I-O-N. That accent, there would be an accent mark over the O, but I can't do it with my computer. Acción. There we go. That's all that pattern is. So T-I-O-N words and C-I-O-N words. That's pattern number one. Everybody got it? Piece of cake, right? Okay, let's look at the second part. Let's look at pattern B. Let me find my tools again. Pattern B, Spanish ending of DAD corresponds to TY. Now this one's a little trickier. It's not always the case, but like 95% of the time, if you see a word that ends with TY in English, sometimes it's ITY, sometimes it's just TY. That's going to have a corresponding word of DAD. Now you sometimes have to make a little bit of a jump, make a connection in your brain as to what the word is. But if you can visualize it, you can probably guess at what the word means. So let's do the first one on the list. Number one, la autoridad. So this is the A sound A, followed by the U sound U. Autoridad. Autoridad. Anybody want to take a shot at it? What do you think that would be? Exchange the DAD for TY.
Authority.
Authority. There we go. So let's put that right here. Now notice the sound when we say the word is just a little bit different. There's also no H in it in Spanish. But again, it's close enough where our brain can make that link between the two. So how about if we do like, how about number 6? La necesidad. So again, if we take that DAD pattern and change that to a TY, yeah, that becomes necessity. And again, notice that in English, we're going to spell it a little bit differently, but we're really dealing with just how the sounds are. Necessity. We're going to have 2 S's in English, but again, we can make that connection there. How about, oh, here we go. Let's do an easy one. Anya Sophia, how about number 9? What do you think number 9 would be?
University.
There you go. La universidad becomes university. Piece of cake. Let's leave that. Let's go to the third one. So let's scroll. We did the CION pattern. We did the DAD pattern. Let's go to the second page and let's look at this pattern. And again, this one is, again, one that we see a lot. One that we see a lot in Spanish and English. There are different variations of it though. So the word's going to end in either IA or accented IA. It's the same thing, or IO. And that's going to be the equivalent of a word. If we exchange that, that's going to be something that ends with Y in Spanish or in English. And again, there are going to be sometimes 4 or 5% of the time, there are going to be words that don't translate like that. But for the most part, again, we can make a guess as to what we think it is. So we have words like familia becomes family, fotografía, photography, or vocabulario. Those words that end with an IO or an IA, we can exchange it for a Y, and we can make a very educated guess, okay? Now again, sometimes we have spelling changes like in the word photograph. Spanish doesn't use the PH to make the F sound like English does, It's just as an F. But again, from just kind of saying that word in your mind, photografia, you can either hear it or you can visually see the connection between the two words. And again, the pattern is it's either IA or IO, and that corresponds to a Y. So here we go. First one on the list is Antonio, and it's capitalized, so we know it's a name. What do you think that is? How about, who do I have in here? Leanne, give me another one. What do you think number one is?
Anthony or Antony?
Either one, yeah. So Antony is the original name where we get the name Anthony, but it's the same thing. You guys have probably seen or heard the name Antoine. Same kind of thing. That's more of a French version, but they're all versions of the same name. In this case, it's a name, not a word, but we still have that IO pattern. About number two, dormitorio. If we change the IO to a Y, again, dormitory, just like that, okay? How about, let's look at number 10. What do you guys think number 10 would be?
Remedy.
Remedio becomes remedy. There we go. Remedio. Let's do this backwards for one. Let's do one more here. Let's do number 5. And this word, I'm going to give you the word. It's not any big surprise. It's geography. But anybody think you could pronounce the Spanish word? Let's see if somebody could pronounce that word. How would we pronounce that in Spanish? Any takers? Any triers? Let me see my list so I can find you guys. Nobody wants to give it a shot? Jenna, I see you hiding down there. Try it. Can you say that word in Spanish? Give it a try. Unmute yourself first.
I don't know.
Give it a shot.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to like start it or anything.
Okay, let me tell you this. I'm going to give you a little hint. Here, you're going to sound like amazing here in 30 seconds. Ready? So the G sound in Spanish is just like it is in English. G, g, g. Except when there's an I or an E next to it, like this word, and then it has an H sound. So the first, it's got 2 G's. The first G is going to sound like an H, and the second G is going to sound like a G. So this is going to be H, and this is going to be G. Okay, so give it a try for me. Let's see if you can. I just want to see how close you can get.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hagafora? I don't know.
Say it again for me. I didn't hear you very well.
Hagafora or something?
Hey, that's not bad at all. You got the G sounds very well. That's not bad at all. Okay, so guys, let's break this down. And again, we're not too worried about sounds yet. I'm putting Jenna on the spot here a little bit. So the first part of the word is heo, and the second part of the word is grafia. So geografia. The only difference there really, if you think about it, is the G sounds. Now we say geo instead of heo. There's a slight difference in the pronunciation there, but it's essentially the same word. And even if you can't, even if you struggle, like Jenna, even if you struggle to make those sounds in your mind, you're already making those sounds in your mind. And also when you have the visual effect of looking at the word, that makes it 10 times easier because it looks so similar to the word that we're trying to say. Okay, thank you, Jenna, for flexing your mental muscles. Let's try another one here in this same group. Malachi, will you do number, let's do number 6. So the word is history. How would you say the word, the Spanish word for number 6? How would you pronounce it?
Historia.
Very good. Historia. The H is actually silent, so it doesn't make a sound. In all Spanish words that have an H in them, the H is silent. Like in, we don't have very many examples, but we have a few. The word honor in English, just like that. So the H is just silent. It's just pronounced historia, just like that. Very good. Okay, guys, go. So let's go put our answer in there for historia. That's history. Sorry. Let's go put our answer in for history. And then let's move on. Let me get all my annotations out of the way there. Let's move on to this next pattern. Let's go down to part D. So here we go with the Spanish ending OSO is the same thing as in English OUS. And again, almost always, if you have an OUS word, it's going to be OSO. It might be OSA in Spanish. But let's look at the first one on the list. Curioso is the word. What do you think that would be?
Curious.
Piece of cake. Curious. So we take that OSO and we exchange it for OUS, and there you go. Now, sometimes it's not always going to be this easy. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of a stronger leap in your brain to put the two pieces together. But remember, what we're looking at here is patterns, word patterns that we can then apply that pattern to make ourselves think. Let's take the word number 6. This word in Spanish is montañoso. Montañoso. So we know that the OSO is the equivalent of OUS, right? So what do you guys think is this part of the word? What's a montaña? What's a montaña? Montaña. I can't make the little squiggly over the end, but montaña is a mountain. That's where we get the state of Montana. It's a Spanish word, montaña. So what do you guys think that montañoso would be?
Mountainous?
Very good. Mountainous. How many of you guys, be honest now, has anybody ever in your life used the word mountainous? That's a very mountainous state. Never, probably, right? Mountain and then OUS, mountainous. Even though you've never used that word, we can apply that pattern and figure out and know, make an educated guess as to what the word means. Okay, let's try, let's do another one here from this pattern. Let's try, let's do number 4. What do you guys think number 4 would be? Generoso.
Generous.
Very good. So generoso becomes OUS, generoso, generous. Very good. That's our patterning. So the OSO becomes an OUS. Okay, let's drop down here. Let's look at this one. We got two more here. Let's look at the pattern of mente, M-E-N-T-E. So when you see a Spanish word that ends with M-E-N-T, that's the equivalent of L-Y. Now again, there are going to be instances where it doesn't work like that, but for the most part, it's going to work. Or at the very least, you can make an educated guess. For example, the word finally, finalmente. So if we imagine that mente part of the word is just translates to ly, we can get there and we can get to final plus ly. Okay, so let's see if we can do these. How about if we do, all right, we're gonna do an easy one first. So let's do number 8. What do you guys think number 8 would be? Rápidamente. So if I take the word rápidamente and I make the M-E-N-T-E, turn that into an L-Y, it becomes rapidly. Estamos aprendiendo muy rápidamente. We're learning very rapidly. Now, I want you guys to also notice that we have the extra A added in the Spanish word that we had to get rid of. But again, it's close enough where we can make the leap between the two rapidly. How about if we do number 1? How about number 1? Correctamente.
Correctly.
Very good. Excuse me. Correctly. There we go. Now, let's see if we can make a little bit more of a leap in our head where we have to change the word a little bit. How about if we try number, what do you guys think number 9 would be? Just by looking at the word.
Recently?
Yeah, recently. So again, we know that this part of the word, the mente part, is the ly, so we're really only dealing with the first part. So then we can make that part of the word in our mind, and we can sort of make the jump there. So that's going to be recently. Recently. And now the last one we're going to try here, number 5, inmediatamente. Inmediatamente.
Immediately.
Immediately. That almost immediately pops into your mind because they look so familiar. But you notice that in Spanish, they spell the word immediately with I-N-M, and we spell it with I-M-M. But again, we can deal with the mente part of the word and then the other part of the word and put the two together. Okay, let's drop down here. Let's look at this last little piece. Guys, there's a bunch. There's like 6 pages here. We're only doing the first 2 pages. So let's look at this last pattern. Now this one is a little different. It's still pretty easy to figure out though. So it says no Spanish word may begin with a letter S plus a consonant. Somebody unmute yourself, guys. Somebody shout it out or say it in the computer. What are consonants? Give me an example of consonants. Anybody? You guys have to know what consonants are. Okay, here. What's a non-consonant?
Vowels.
There you go. So we have vowels and we have consonants. So if it's not A, E, I, O, U, it's one of the other letters. That's what our consonants are. And what this says is Spanish words are not going to begin with the letter S followed by a consonant. Therefore, many English words that begin with an S and a consonant have a corresponding Spanish word begins with ES. Essentially, what you guys need to know about this pattern is if there's a word in English that is S plus a consonant, like the word space, Spanish speakers have a tendency to add an extra E sound in front of it. It makes it easier for Spanish speakers to make that pronunciation of the S plus a consonant. So the word space, for example, becomes essentially espace, but it becomes espacio. So you will often see this pattern where you have an added E sound at the beginning of a word that has an S followed by a consonant, in this case, the P. So let's look at words, for example, like number 3, España. Who knows what España is?
Spain.
There you go. And it's capitalized. Again, because it's capitalized, we know that that's another clue to help us. That is just Spain. How about the word, how about number 6? What do you guys think number 6 would be? Espíritu.
Spirit.
There you go. So this time we're actually like removing part of the word when we move to English. So instead of espíritu, it's just spirit. Let's do, oh, here's an easy one. Number 9. What are y'all?
Come on, guys, wake up.
What's it gonna be? I know you're not all studs. What's it?
Student.
There you go. Student. And again, we have a little bit of a spelling change. We have a little bit of a spelling change there. But again, knowing that pattern gets us close enough where we know if we take off that E, we're left with studiante. That even sounds more like student. So we're making that educated guess as to what we think it means. How about let me put one that's not on the list and see if you guys can figure it out. I bet you can. What's this word in Spanish? It's not on the list, right? No, it's not. What's escuela? Anybody know?
School.
Yeah, school. That's school. And again, way different spellings. The way they look is way different. But the sound, escuela and school, very similar. Again, your brain is able to make that connection between the two. Okay. How much time do we have here? We got about 10 minutes or so. Guys, we're going to, real quick, we're going to jump into a pair deck here for about 5 minutes. I'm going to leave my screen share on. Let me go here. I'm going to click on this. You guys are going to go to open a new tab. And I want you to go type in the address bar, joinpd.com. Joinpd.com. Okay, let's go to this. Okay, so once you go to that web address of joinpd.com, put in this code PALGK, and then it'll show me when you guys pop up here. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pose a question to you. Right now, you guys have on your screen, let me close this. right now it says, please write a response. So I'm going to give you a word. I'm going to say the word, and I'm just going to see if you can write the word, the English word that it would correspond to, okay? Based on those patterns that we just talked about. So if I give you guys, for example, the word civilización, civilización. What do you think that would be? I can put your responses up here. There you go. Very good. Excellent. Okay. So let's do this backwards. We're gonna stay with the same pattern, but let's do this backwards. What if I give you the word production? Production in English. Can you write it in Spanish? Production. Yeah. There we go. So actually, you guys can see the responses, what people are putting there. So for the word production, that one's a little tricky because we have the word, let me see if I can pull it up on screen for us. Let's pull that document back up. So the word is production. Here it is, right here. Right here's the word, guys. So it's actually got two C's in it. So we have this part of the word, which is the product part, or the product. And then we have the T-I-O-N, which becomes the C-I-O-N. So we get the two C's there, producción. That one's a little tricky, but again, just applying that pattern. Okay, let's try this. Let me give you a different word here. How about if I give you guys the word naturally? If I give you guys the word naturally, can you write that in Spanish? Naturally. Remember what that L-Y changes to. Aha. Hey, this is a perfect example of, yeah. So you guys can see my screen, you can see everybody's responses. You can see that about half of us said put the word natural with D-A-D, and about half of us did it with the M-E-N-T. And again, technically, the naturalmente is the correct way to do it. So it's actually, this is the correct word. But you guys were still applying the same pattern. It's just we couldn't remember quite which one it was, if it was the D-A-D or the M-E-N-T-E, if it was the dad or the mente. But again, we're still taking that concept of natural plus li, and then it's just making the decision, or remembering whether it was D-A-D or mente as to which one is correct. Naturalmente. All right, let's do this with, let's do one more. And let's go back to the other way. So if I tell you the word in Spanish, if I say the word, okay, this is going to have two patterns that we've talked about today. So the word is estación. Estación. What word is that in English? Estación. Very good. We're getting there. Excelente. Perfecto. So that one has two patterns. It's got the S plus a consonant at the beginning of the word station, becomes esta, S station, essentially. But then we also have the CION at the end of the word, which becomes TION. So station. Estación is station. Very good. Okay, let's pull you guys out of here. Let me end this. And let's turn our screen share off. Okay, so it's going to log you out of there. You don't have to worry about it. It'll log you guys out. Okay, guys, so what I need you guys to do for your practice is work with those patterns there. The first 2 pages of that document, okay? Remember, it's like 6 pages long. We're only doing those first 2 pages. We did pattern A through E, A, B, C, D, and E. There's 5 patterns there. The ones that we didn't do together as a group, that's what you're going to do for your homework, okay? When you finish with it, you'll just save it to your drive, and then from your Google Drive, then you can upload it to Google Classroom for me. You guys have questions? How you feel about that? There are, by the way, that's only a few of the language patterns in Spanish. That's just to sort of get the ball rolling. There's lots of other words like that. States, for example, lots of states in the United States have Spanish names. Montana was one. Can anybody think of another state name that's Spanish?
Colorado.
Colorado, which literally means colorful. Florida, the name Florida, the word for flower in Spanish is flor, F-L-O-R. So Florida means flowery or flower covered. Lots of them like that. Lots of patterning within the language that we can make educated guesses at. Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? Feel like you can handle those patterns? That's a good jumping off point. Okay, guys. If you don't have any questions or comments, I think we're good to go. I can let you guys go.